Have you ever heard about Caligula, the insane Roman emperor? A guy who is both incredibly fascinating and occasionally terrifying? One of the most notorious Roman emperors, Caligula was known for his strange actions, brutality, and drunkenness. In this video, we'll delve into the intriguing life of this insane monarch in this video, revealing the historical occurrences and disputes that surrounded his tenure. But let's start from the beginning before we get crazy. Although Caligula's early life had a bright and honorable beginning, it eventually took a terrible turn that would determine his chaotic reign. Gaius Julius Caesar Augustus Germanicus, the original name of Caligula, was born on August 31st, 12 AD in Antium, a coastal town in what is now the modern-day Italian region of Anzio. Impressive was his pedigree. He was the son of Germanicus, a well-liked Roman general distinguished for his combat prowess, and Agrippina the Elder, the great-granddaughter of Julius Caesar and the granddaughter of Emperor Augustus. Young Caligula became a member of the esteemed Julio-Claudian dynasty as a result. The military adventures of his family had a significant impact on Caligula's early years. Among the Roman legions, his father Germanicus was a well-liked and respected general. Young Caligula was exposed to the hardships of Roman military life since he frequently traveled with his family to the military camps and other provinces where they were stationed. Because of the little military boots he wore as a child, the soldiers lovingly gave him the nickname Caligula during these formative years. Given his distinguished family history and reputation, Caligula appeared to be headed for a prosperous future under the Roman Empire at this point. But when his family was brought into disgrace, his bright beginnings took a terrible turn, and Caligula's life was forever altered. Two of Caligula's older siblings and his mother Agrippina the Elder were charged with plotting to overthrow Tiberius, the emperor at the time. Their banishment and eventual demise resulted from this. This was the start of Caligula's tumultuous relationship with the imperial court, as the suspicion of his own future was raised by his family's supposed involvement in the conspiracy. Actually, because of their tarnished family name, Caligula and his remaining siblings were left in a difficult situation where their inheritance was taken away, and their lives were in jeopardy. After Tiberius died in 37 AD, Caligula and his cousin Tiberius Gemellus were chosen by the Roman Senate to share the empire. But Caligula eventually destroyed his rivals and ascended to the position of only Roman emperor. This was the start of a reign that would be notorious for its excesses, cruelties, and oddities. Once full of potential, Caligula's early life had been ruined by betrayal and political intrigue. We'll look at how these early experiences influenced the man who would become Caligula, the crazy Roman emperor, as we go deeper into his reign. Caligula was proclaimed the third Roman emperor in March of 37 AD, a few days following the demise of Tiberius. The yearning for a new beginning following Tiberius's harsh reign played a role in the Senate's decision to support him. At first, the Roman people welcomed Caligula as a breath of fresh air, hoping for a more compassionate and enlightened leader. The ascent of Caligula was greeted with great enthusiasm, and his early actions indicated a change in the political landscape of the Roman Empire. One of his first actions as emperor was to undo the policies of Tiberius, granting pardon to individuals who had been wrongfully imprisoned or banished in the preceding rule. The people became more optimistic as a result of this being perceived as a good move, but his early behavior suggested what was to come. Offering incentives to the Praetorian Guard, the elite Roman military unit tasked with guarding the emperor, was one of his first actions. This was an attempt to win their allegiance, a strategy that would turn out to be crucial. Caligula's peculiarities and outlandish actions became apparent as his rule went on. Anecdotes abound about his lavish spending, one of which describes how, during his parades, he threw coins to the throng. Along with this, he took on large-scale building projects, building two enormous ships that were virtually floating palaces. Not only was Caligula a spendthrift, but he also frequently wore opulent foreign clothing, such silk robes and diamond slippers, which contrasted sharply with the customs of ancient Rome. Caligula's violence and paranoia soon eclipsed his oddities. On the remotest suspicion of collusion, he ordered the killing of notable people, including senators and writers. He even carried out executions and seized the properties of people who were only wealthy. Tiberius Gemellus, his adoptive son and cousin, was one prominent victim of his paranoia and was put to death in 38 AD. In addition to his brutality, Caligula was notorious for his promiscuous way of living. In addition to being many, Caligula engaged in scandalous sexual acts at the period. He was well known for breaking Roman social mores by having affairs with senators and nobles' wives. In addition to undermining the moral foundation of the Roman aristocracy, this behavior fostered a climate of mistrust and terror among the powerful. Many senators encouraged their wives to ask Caligula for favor in order to shield their families from his alleged sexual advances. Beyond his extramarital adventures, Caligula's conceit was astounding. Declaring himself to be a living deity, he demanded divine respect from his followers. This was a significant divergence from Roman custom, which generally saw emperors as almost divine beings, if not as actual deities. In addition to being blasphemous, his self-deification incited conflict inside the Roman Empire, particularly among followers of established religions. In addition, Caligula started a number of building initiatives that reflected his opulent way of living. Notably, he gave the order to build 2 enormous pleasure boats that were essentially castles on wheels. These gigantic vessels revealed the depths of his extravagance, complete with gardens, marble floors, and opulent furnishings. His reputation as a monarch who reveled in excess was further cemented when he hosted sumptuous feasts and orgies on his ships. It's important to note that Caligula indulged in immoral behavior outside of his personal life. Under his leadership, the Roman political system underwent a significant change. It was well known that he used spies and informants extensively to keep tabs on and manage the behavior of the Roman nobility. Everyone was afraid and apprehensive since they had no idea who could be telling the emperor everything they did. Accusations of treason and conspiracy spread like wildfire, resulting in property seizures and executions. Essentially, Caligula used his drunkenness and paranoia as useful instruments to increase his level of authority. To put it mildly, Caligula's relationship with the Roman Senate was turbulent. He frequently openly insulted senators, stripped them of their authority, and chose to rule in an autocratic manner. He further exacerbated tensions by using the Senate as a source of income and pressuring its members to accept ever larger payments. Due to his unpredictable actions and growing unpopularity, Caligula withstood multiple attempts at assassination during his rule. Though plots were plotted, none succeeded, partly because of the Praetorian Guard's devotion to him. He had previously rewarded them financially, which guaranteed their devotion. The scope of Caligula's rule extended beyond Rome. He had a well-known falling out with the Alexandrian Jewish community in Egypt. He gave the order to have a statue of himself built in the Jewish temple, which the Jewish people saw as sacrilegious. Widespread indignation resulted from this episode, which was only averted when Caligula was killed prior to the statue's placement. 4 years into his reign, on January 24, 41 AD, Caligula's turbulent reign came to an abrupt end. It was a plot orchestrated by senior officers and the Praetorian Guard that culminated in his murder. Historians continue to disagree over the specifics of the assassination, although it is generally accepted that a group of conspirators ambushed Caligula in a passage, where he eventually died from his wounds. The legacy of Caligula is one of excess, cruelty, and insanity. As one of the most notorious and despotic Roman emperors, he is frequently remembered. Many of his subjects suffered as a result of his strange conduct, debauchery, and paranoia during his reign. Although many people were relieved by his murder, it also signaled the start of an unstable period in the Roman Empire. The insane Roman Emperor Caligula is still a fascinating historical character. His rule is remembered in the history of Rome as a dark period marked by excess, cruelty, and eccentricity. Examining historical events serves as a reminder of the authority and unpredictable nature of absolute monarchs. For more historical material, remember to like, share, and subscribe if you thought this video was interesting and educational. We appreciate you coming along on this historical tour with us. Until we meet again, keep your curiosity alive and explore the past.